Hi there, I'm Deborah Henson-Conant, also known as Deborah, also known as DHC, and this is Jung at Harp. Now, most weeks I'm here together with Kathleen Wiley, who is a Jungian psychoanalyst. I'm a composer and a performer and an educator, and we both play the harp, so that we call this Jung at Harp. We meet each week to have a conversation about something that we're both thinking about, or something that we agree to consider. We don't come with answers, we come with questions as a way of exploring something through conversation. And because this platform is open to, we can actually see comments depending on what platform you're watching it on, you can come into that conversation as well. Normally we start around 9:15 a.m. Eastern time on Fridays, but I'm here a little bit late and Kathleen is not with me. But I wanted to hold down the space for the conversation because it is a weekly conversation. And I wanted to talk about fake and cheat. And I wanted to talk about these. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, that's what I want to talk to Kathleen about today, because I've just released a book called a fake book. And a fake book is a special kind of music book that has inside it something called cheat sheets, which are also called lead sheets. And I just find these words very, very interesting. And I hope that you can hear me because I'm here by myself. I don't know if you can. So if someone is hearing this and you're here live, those of you who are here live, if you could just let me know in the chat if you're actually hearing me talk, or as there have been some times when I'm talking away, and there's no sound. And I'm not speaking sign language at that time, so you'd have no idea what I'm saying. But I want to talk about fake because I think so many musicians feel like fakes or feel like the imposter syndrome, it's called, but really feeling like they're a fake in some way, that they would be seen as unworthy or not good enough, not the real thing by others. And I'm also, the other half of my mind is thinking about what's happening next week, which is hopefully the premiere of a Bandura concerto that is an adaptation of my harp concerto, Merceditas. Hearing you, great, thank you, Lori. So I've been thinking about the fact that this concerto is having its world premiere and that it's uncertain because of, they never know in Ukraine whether they're going to have lights and whether there's going to be a bomb raid that they need to run somewhere else in the concert hall. And so when they scheduled this November 19th, the world premiere of the Bandura concerto Merceditas, they're like, yes, it's supposed to happen this night, but we don't know. And so, and the reason I'm thinking about this in terms of this fake cheat and what that really means when it comes to music, is that the Bandura is a very powerful symbol of Ukraine and has been historically banned and Bandura players persecuted by the Russian government and during the Soviet era, Ukrainian orchestras were forbidden to play music with the banduras. They were forced to play Soviet music. So there's this, and the harp had a similar history in Ireland in the 16th and 17th century, where the instrument, because it represented rebellion, the instrument itself represented rebellion. So the instrument was banned and players were persecuted and sometimes killed. The instruments were burned. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating when you're not there, but I mean, to look at it and realize the power of an instrument to represent a culture and self-expression, and that something is being persecuted, that an instrument would be persecuted, that the players of the instrument would be persecuted, is an indication of how powerful the symbol of our self-expression is as individuals, and also if we're playing an instrument or we're that can symbolize an entire culture. And putting this together with those other two words, fake book and cheat sheets or lead sheets, and it's interesting that it's both cheat and lead. And I may be putting too much into the meanings of there. Sorry, and I also have a cough. What's interesting is to think about the authenticity of your self-expression. What this means in terms of the authenticity and the validity of your personal self-expression. So one of the things that I love about fake books and why I was determined to create a fake book for the holidays that's all in the key of C, making it really easy. The bar to entry is low so that more and more people can be self-expressed with it. Now, this was specifically made for harpists, but it also works for people playing the piano because you can pretty much play just all the white keys. And why is this so? Why is it called a fake book? And why is it so that this fake book creates the opportunity for many people to have self-expression regardless of their technical ability? And to me, this is really at the heart of why so many musicians, especially those who come to the instrument late, but that is not true, because and where I'm getting to the end of that sentence is so many musicians have a sense of shame. So many musicians feel, I am not good enough. I am going to be humiliated. I am going to humiliate myself and possibly anyone who listens to me or who said I was good, that I am going to humiliate myself by playing what I can. And therefore, since we have that in our heads, therefore we do not bring the music into the world that we can. And just as I'm saying this, I'm going to take one more little diversion here to a book, a story, and I always forget the name of the author. He's a science fiction author. The book is called The Day It Rained Forever. And it's a really beautiful story. And I encourage everybody to read it, but especially if you play the harp, read this story, because it equates the sound of the harp to the sound of rain. And I'm emotional just thinking about it. And Ray Bradbury is the writer. And what it does is by equating it to the sound of rain and everything that rain brings, this story really talks about the power and the meaning of music itself, and when people bring that music to others. I just think it's a story that every musician should read to understand the value of what you bring when you play music at any, quote, level of technical ability. And so I just want to talk a little bit about what a fake book is, because I want to talk about it. I want to be thinking a lot in these days about what it means to be a fake musician, what it means to cheat. How can you cheat? How can you cheat if you are bringing solace, joy, peace, excitement to others? And so I love this word that it's a fake book for fake musicians, when in fact it is the fastest route to playing music. If you learn how to read this from this fake book, it is the fastest route to being able to play lots and lots of pieces of music. Why is that fake? I mean, I get why it's fake. It's fake coming out of the era of music where classical musicians were writing down note by note what they were playing, and that became the music that was passed on. Therefore, anything that wasn't note by note was fake. But how can music be fake? If it moves you, if it touches you, it is real. So what I love, one of the things I love about fake books is, for me, as a child, I started playing the ukulele when I was 7. And this was a really powerful moment for me. The moment I saw that 3 shapes that my fingers could make with 3 shapes, which I learned in 10 minutes, I suddenly could do everything I wanted to. I could play every song in the world, because in my world, all the songs in the world pretty much had those 3 chords. And then as I got older, I was given a soprano uke, which was a little tiny ukulele. As I got bigger, I was given a baritone uke, exactly the same instrument, but larger. And then when I got bigger again, I was given a tenor guitar, exactly the same instrument, but larger. And so I started having this, I don't know what you call it, a shape in my head, a vision or an understanding that, oh, I see, music is on this spectrum. You learn something and then it expands. You learn an instrument and then it expands as you grow. It expands with you. Now, I was 7 years old when I started doing that. And so then I kept going, and I, not even knowing that I was learning how to do it. When I was 10, I learned how to read from fake books. They weren't called fake books. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know that I was faking anything. I knew that I couldn't read music. I didn't care about reading music, but by learning this method, I could sound like I was reading music, and I could do it really fast. So it became very natural to me. But then in my early 20s, when I started playing the harp, I banned myself from playing that way. I literally said to myself, you are not a real musician if you cannot play all those notes on the page. I banned myself from having the freedom to be easily self-expressed, and told myself that anything I could play was only worthy and worthwhile if it was something that was very hard to play, that it took a lot of work, and that it was exactly like somebody else did, but at least half as good and maybe better. And it wasn't until a couple years after that, when I had to start making a living, and it might not have even been that long, but when I had to start making a living with the harp, that I was forced to become a fake by using this skill that I had developed as a child. So now, one of the things that I do, now that I realize, far from being fake, it's only fake within this world, kind of like, I've been reading up on the bandura, because this concerto that's going to be performed next week is an adaptation for bandura of a harp concerto that I wrote called Merceditas, and it's a world premiere of this work for bandura. And looked through one culture's eyes, it is not to be done. It is a fake thing. It is not a real thing. It is an instrument that should not even be played. And look through the hands of those who are playing it, it is a symbol of self, to do this thing that has been banned in the past and is anyway. So there's it's a cultural decision about whether something is fake or whether it's real, whether something is okay or it's not okay. And where does this all come to in my last 6 minutes here is that one of the things that I'm passionate about is access and adaptation, that music should be accessible for people to play and for people to play together, how important that is, because it was such an important part of my life. And versus being on stage, which is also wonderful and fun, but there's the audience, the majority of people in the room are like, I know they're not just sitting there like that, but part of the time I feel like at least create something where they can sing so they can experience what it is like to be making music with an ensemble like a symphony orchestra. So this sense of access to self-expression is so important to me. So in releasing this fake book in C, which has a very low threshold for people to come in and play it, the way it's set up is that all you see is let's see. Let's just take the tune Joy to Ode to Joy. All you see in the book is, I'll just make it short. That's all you see in the book, except that you also see big letters that indicate what the harmony is. So they might indicate that the harmony would be something like, now I'm only playing one note, at a time with my right hand, and I'm playing a single note with my left hand, basically only playing two different notes with my left hand, but I can already be musical and I can already play a song that people know. So I'm already handing a flower to someone who loves that melody. I'm handing that melody to somebody. But then when you learn how, and so at any level of technical ability, if I can just do that at any speed, I'm playing the song, I'm handing the flower, I'm able to make that gift. Is it fake? Is it fake? Is the experience real? If that person is thinking, well, that's not really Ode to Joy because there's not much notes there, they're going to experience it as fake. But if it's someone who just loves that melody and wants to hear it, longs to hear it, like you long for water when you're thirsty, that is the song. But from that simple fake book version, you can start learning things like you can harmonize. You can create a shadow note. Now my thumb is still playing. Now I'm going to play that with my thumb, but I'm going to put a shadow note underneath it. I don't have to know what that note is, but here's what's going to happen. Suddenly, I have harmony. And this is what I love about this fake book, this simple thing. And then later on, if I get very comfortable, I might even reharmonize it in a different sort of, I might even so I'm taking that same fake book, that same simplified, distilled version, and being able to be self-expressed at whatever level I'm able to play, which means to me that I am going to be able to keep playing it. I might even change it, like, if I was only able to see the full thing, here's the real thing, I wouldn't be able to have that access to playing with it, to exploring it. And by creating a fake thing, I'm able to have so much more with it, and to be able to share so much with it. And because this fake book is so easy to play at the simplest level, it's like it's got 40 plus tunes in it. So the image that I have is of, because I have this big garden and I have a lot of flowers in my backyard. And one of the reasons that I love it is so that I can just say to somebody, yeah, go pick some flowers in my backyard so you can have a bouquet. To be able to have the ability to give that gift so easily that's real. I mean, that feels like such a real experience in life. It's time for me to go, but let me leave you with this thought. What do you think is fake? Maybe because it's easy for you, or it doesn't seem like something someone else did. What do you see as fake? And therefore you don't let yourself, and I'm asking myself this, truly self-express through that. And what is the real experience of music? What is the real connection that music brings to people? And can that fake thing where you think you're cheating, can that fake thing lead to something deeply real in terms of your connection? And if so, let's lean into that, because the connection is real. And that's the part that's important. That's my question for the day. And that's where I've come to in this little tiny moment of asking that question. That the connection is what's real. Thank you for joining me today. Kathleen will be back next week with me, and who knows what we will be discovering. And if you are a musician and you're interested in this fake book, go to, it's a little hard to find. Go to hipharp.com/classes. That's probably the easiest thing. Hip Harp, that's hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument.com/classes. And then look for the fake book and get real with it. All right. I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye. Thank you.
Visit jungatharp.com for show notes, contact links, and to follow the ongoing conversation. That's Jung, as in Carl Jung, the famous psychoanalyst, and harp, as in the many-stringed instrument.